My name is Terry Smythe. I'm a master trainer for Concept 2 and owner of You Can Row 2, and also a fitness director for a small hospital up in Houghton, Michigan called Aspirus Keweenaw. And I'm a longtime rower. Well, I'm sent here by Concept 2 because we're trying to start some programming, a new program called Veterans Row for Life. And I've done a lot of work with adaptive folks, cognitively impaired primarily, and the visually impaired is where I've spent most of my time. So I've had very little experience with working with on the water, amputees and disabled populations. So I'm primarily here to learn about your program. I've heard wonderful things. Mark McAndrew just sings your praises, and I've seen your brochure, and kind of followed through, some of your YouTube stuff, and it's just been inspirational. I wanted to come down and have the first hands-on experience and meet these wonderful athletes and watch the miracle and transformation from, out of their chairs and prosthetics and into the world of rowing. I think it's a gift, and I'm really glad that Concept 2 chose me to be able to come and have this opportunity. And I think your program here is certainly one of quality. It's got a wonderful reputation and is probably setting the gold standard for what adaptive programs should be. That it's an open door. Please come as you wish, and we'll work with you as much as you want or as little as you need.
We can always just use your oars, just put you in the heavier boat.
There we go.
The heavier oars are worse.
Wow, you get cruising.
How long have you been rowing, Jenny?
6 years.
She plays quad rugby and tennis.
That's great. Natural.
If I was to do this, modify this, I would raise those seats up about 3 inches. And it puts them, instead of pulling in really high, a lot of times it puts them right where they should be on the pole grip. And we'll take her up and make sure she's in the shade.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, they were actually pouring cold water on her arms to help cool her down faster.
Okay.
So, heat's the big thing with them, though, mostly. Blisters, a lot of deals because they don't heal very well.
Right, yeah, because of the circulation.
With the grips, now, with her, we used to literally strap her hands with elastic. She has like elastic grips, and literally she'd lose all the feeling in her hands.
Oh.
They were so tight. But you want to go ahead? No. She continued to roll like that. And so these grips used to take us about 20 minutes to get her on the water. And we used to strap the oars, double strap the oars to hold them on the square. And now we've, a coach from Australia told us, just stick another collar on there and it keeps them from moving in and out. And then we found the wristbands we put in there, and that locks them into the oar lock on the square so they don't move. So we just gradually have found easier and easier ways to get her on the water faster. So.
Yeah, see what she's not emailed me back. Oh, really? Well, I guess the problem made it better.
Hang on a second.
Like how long?
Don't, but let me see what else is going on. Hold on.
Yep.
Is Gens awake?
What you're going to find is you're so used to wanting to feather,
Oh yeah, and then not being able to.
and you're going to want to slide.
Yeah.
So,
Just sitting here, I want to do that.
there's 4 showing. 4 in the 5th hole. And one nice thing with these is you can let go of the oars. Just something you've never done.
I know, it's like it fixed my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no overlap.
Oh, right.
Watch your thumbs.
Yes, I better not do that. I gotta do this.
It's more of a, because you're not feathering anyway.
Yeah.
Push you off.
Alright, I gotta.
Now you gotta lean out against that strap as far as you can.
So lean like this? Is that what you do? So you get
All in the shoulders. What you're trying to do is keep it up in the shoulders and in the laps as much as you can, not in the arm.
Right, that's
What do you
So much
think?
different than what you're used to, isn't it?
Well, you know, you just, yeah, you want to, definitely, you want to compress, you want to do all this stuff, and
You gotta fight all those feelings.
yet, you know, just square blade in your head, you know, okay, we're rowing square blade, so you're thinking, you know, body position, hands down the way, doing all that stuff, but
Yeah, plus you have feeling all the way down your body.
I know.
Somebody like Jenny, her stops about in the middle of her chest.
I just think, you know, I mean, this boat moves very well, you know, but if I didn't have usage of that, the fatigue factor, the fact that she was up and down and moving this boat nicely. But it's effective though. I can see, you know, all the adaptations that you made in the boat to accommodate, make it very efficient.
Yeah, before I mean, we would double scrap it, but every once in a while it would come off just a little bit. Well, she had no way to pull it back.
Right.
So if it did it in a race, you're just fighting that feeling the whole time. Where this, I mean, it just locks everything in, and it's so easy to take it out. Like, we can use these oars for somebody that feathers and squares simply by taking the collars out.
Right, that's all you do.
You don't have to take the other collar off or anything. You just take the white thing out of it and you just go on.
And then you're good to go.
Okay, well, here we are back with Terry. Adventures of Terry. Dun, 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 dun.
Drum roll. Yes, wow.
So how's your day been so far?
Highly informative, very inspiring. I think, you know, meeting Jenny and watching her row in a fixed boat like that with her hands strapped into the oars and rowing square blade, and the adaptations that have been made to the Alden shell with, you know, the wrist grip to secure it in the oarlock. Really interesting. And then for me to get in there and actually row and be forced to just use my arms and my upper back, it's pretty hard to just isolate those movements. You know, you certainly want to move, and it just gives you a whole new respect for what they actually have to endure.
Get some appreciation.
Absolutely. But the boats move. I was impressed with how swiftly they do move along with the adaptations.
So, now you're kind of a rowing professional here. So the stroke, what percent of the stroke is legs?
Oh, good grief. I mean, 60% of the stroke at least.
And
is
then what
legs.
percent is back at?
Oh, boy, breaking it down percentage. I should know this, and I don't remember off
Well,
the top
about,
of my head.
you know.
But I'd have to say, well, I mean, the rest is the combination of the, you know, the back coming in off the drive.
Right.
So, you know, if you're getting a good 60% out of your legs or better, you know, then the rest is just back and arms. So if you're taking away, you know, 60 to say 65% of effort and just leaving that with whatever you're left with, it's not a lot, but it's still impressive as to how fast they can go.
Yeah.
And
So
again, it just comes back to that whole-
rowing life's not over if your legs don't work.
No, absolutely. Oh, no. No, I think your rowing life's not over if a lot of things don't work. You know,
That's
you can
right.
just figure it out. I mean, I think that's the problem with, you know, able-bodied people's perception of adaptive is that, oh, they can't do that. No, they just might, you know, can't do it the way you do it anymore, but they can figure out how to still do it. And I think that's critical. You know, if you love to do something, you know, you have to figure out how to keep doing it and find the people that are willing to help you keep doing it. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing here this morning is the energy from all of the volunteers that are here working with these athletes and making it possible for them, you know, to have a chance to get on the water and participate in this sport of us, because it won't happen unless we get people out there helping, and we need those numbers to have a voice. You know, is to wake up America to the realities that, you know, we've got a large percentage of our population has adaptive needs, and let's figure out how to get them active and keep them healthy. So it minimizes, you know, healthcare costs and does all kinds of wonderful things in terms of their, you know, self-esteem and self-confidence. You know, all the things that an able-bodied person gets, I think an adaptive athlete gets as well, if not more. And certainly to be around them is not to be around, you know, when you say adaptive, it's almost like you're expecting, well, I don't even know how to put it in gentle words other than to say that, you know, people are not expecting a real person. You know, and how awful is that? But you come down here and it's like, gosh, the odd man out is the able-bodied person. You know, so it's interesting to have the tables turn and it's fun. They're just great. I mean, I'm laughing my head off with them and having fun, and it's just wonderful to watch them transform themselves from the chairs and off their legs into the boats. It's amazing.
Makes you want to do it, doesn't it?
Yeah. You row that?
Just straps it there. So,
Okay, so
here, I'm probably just gonna move it just a little
So
bit.
fast. Well, there isn't any padding here. Do you sit on padding back there?
no, heck no.
Okay, Terry.
Yeah.
You're going to row the Paralympic boat here.
Yes,
Right?
I am.
You're going to row it as a trunk and arms, right?
I am going to try. I'm going to do my best.
And your partner here is Paralympic hopeful Oksana Masters. So she's getting in the cockpit right now.
Yeah, here we go.
Away we go.
And remember, well,
And we got,
you do have your hands. She didn't have any overlap in hers. You've got a tiny bit
yeah, I
in
just
there.
got a little bit.
Just kind of paddle it up, let her get used to it, and then launch, and then we'll all launch.
Her as in.
Terry, just let her get used to the boat. Just make sure you steer straight.
As long as it is. Yeah, don't do this.
Back my way up.
Good. Straight down the river.
Hands out fast, shoulders over slow. Hands out fast, slow the hands down. There you go. Alright, you kind of get it and you kind of let yourself fall back into it.
I'm struggling. It's really,
hard.
I have to think every single stroke.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that it? Is
And
that
when you get it really good for a few strokes, but then you instantly want to slow the hands back down.
Yeah.
Because that's the way you're used to rowing.
Well, it's just,
I mean, yours and my recovery is all the way up the slide,
yeah, I know.
and their recovery is like 6 inches.
I know. That's why I'm trying to think of
Okie rowing this side so the wind doesn't blow us into shore. So I mean, that's the huge difference. But once you think about doing this and then slowing here, it just relaxes that recovery. It relaxes that catch real, so your catches become very gentle. So.
No, I understand. I just,
Yeah, it's just a matter, it's habit.
That's a fantastic shot.
Now you got it, just keep it. see him. We got swimmers in the water.
Falling behind him. Let me get a couple of seconds here.
Well, if I say so myself, eventually we will get there.
It's a pretty good docking there.
How'd you feel about that?
That was,
We're gonna cut our legs off and start a trunk and arms women's division.
yes. Okay, 1 foot up and out.
It's quite an experience, isn't it?
Yes. You know, just things you don't think about. The adaptations of the stroke and stuff like that. Thinking about the recovery process. You know, how we take so for granted, you know, the length of our arms, the length of our torso, and then how our legs connect in. You know, our recovery is, you know, this long, whereas theirs is this long. And where to take that, you know, that pause and not feel like you're you know, sitting at the finish. You know, you got to get the hands out, but yet you can't rocket them out because you don't have the slide to do the transition, you know, to slow things down. So you have to work that pause in. And I think, you know, Bobby's cue to me about thinking pause drill, slow shoulders, quick hands, you know, those are all critical tips, I think. But I give Oksana all the credit in the world for having patience to row with me. So it was great. What a difference in rowing this hull versus the Alden that we were in yesterday.
Yeah. You have
much prefer this one.
You have something to compare to now,
Yeah,
don't you?
this is.
I like the Alden personally. That's my favorite.
I think that's a good resistance training tool. I think it's good to train in the Aldens, and then when you get to train in this to race, this is pretty magnificent. But I certainly see them able to get even in a more racing style hull rather than the wider body. But I think the width of the seat.
Was it worth coming?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think the hands-on experience is critical for anybody who's going to work with the adaptive rowing population. You know, to come here and be able to interact with coaches and the athletes, and to be able to step into the equipment and experience their world is a must.
So you just didn't ride in the launch and watch.
No, and you know, a lot of the things that I assumed, you know, were proven wrong. I mean, just something like rowing with Oksana here, you know, trunk and arms, and just making me assume that I could just do a simple, you know, swing pick drill was incorrect. You know, not knowing about the whole recovery process. I mean, we just think, okay, you just slow down. Well, it's not just slowing down. There's technique involved. And I don't think that you'll necessarily connect those dots unless you get a hands-on experience.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're unable to get in the boat for whatever reason, you still need to be here and get in the launch and listen to the coaching and just watch the athletes, you know, training it. Absolutely critical.
Now you rode kind of an able-bodied row one morning. Then you observed Jenny.
Yes, and then you put me in the boat.
Then you rode Jenny's equipment, so you
Right.
did an arms-only row.
Yep, square blades.
Square blades.
How was that?
That was tough, boy, to have the straps, you know, securing you. I think I felt more there, like I wanted to use my slide than I did rowing with you this morning, definitely. But you know, inspirational and just an incredible experience. I can't say anything, but I recommend people coming here to get this experience if we're gonna, you know, I think rise the level of competition and inclusivity of the adaptive population. You know, we need to see more programs like what you're doing here, and this certainly is what we need to be doing, because I like the piece that ties in with the family of rowing that happens here. I mean, I really, from the minute you get here, you feel very welcome and a part of what's going on, and I think that's a real credit to Bobby and to Randy and, you know, what's happening here with everybody. So, worth the trip. Absolutely. Would I come back? You bet.
Now, Mr. Hurley, you get a lot of coaching of adaptive rowers, but you don't get a chance very often to have other coaches come here and coach them.
Right.
So how was that experience for you?
It was good. By letting her use the equipment, her and myself both have rowed able-bodied slide seat rowing for years. You develop that habit and that style, and when you're forced to rethink it, you really understand what those people are going through. And like she said, without actually being in the boat or without rowing the boat, you just think, well, I just need to cut the slide out, big deal. And you find out that's not exactly the whole story. So we have developed a little different technique for these people to row really efficiently, and you really need to learn that. And as a coach, she was really good about accepting the changes and really asking the questions she needed to try to get it straight in her mind, not just, well, this is the way I do it, you know. So she was a good student. She had a lot of fun. We did a lot of on-water stuff with her, like I say, with Jenny and the straps. The only thing we didn't do was the gloves, but everything else, we just literally put her in the boat that these people row. I mean, we didn't change anything to make it easier for her to work. I mean, if they were strapped, she was strapped. If the seat was fixed, the seat was fixed. So the boat was adapted to her, just like anybody else, and that's all we did. So she actually had to become a disabled rower. So the experience level there for a coach pays dividends, because now when you're asking somebody to do something, you understand if they can or can't do it. If they can't, you understand what you need to change to make that happen. So,
Even our own volunteers who row with adaptive rowers, they row on a slide seat often and just don't use whatever limbs.
right.
Yeah.
And in your case, though, you actually rowed on the seats and with the straps.
Yeah, and I think that's an invaluable experience, because it certainly helps, because each athlete is different. And as we've been talking about, the adaptation to the equipment, it's not one size fits all.
No.
And they each have different side effects from their their disability or whatever that you have to be considerate of. Like for Jenny, you had to worry about where you strapped her and all that, because it impacts her breathing, and then you've got heating problems, and of course being in a community where it gets as hot as it does, that's a serious thing.
Yeah.
To consider that. And I like the fact that I don't think you've missed anything in terms of the safety aspect, because that's important to consider. How do they respond in the heat or the cold? Little things that for us able-bodied rowers, oh, it's just a blister. Well, for them, like you were telling me yesterday, a blister is a big deal. And it's not something that can be ignored.
Right.
Now, when we were talking about the experience we'd like to create for people who might come to these kind of workshops, one of the things we specifically wanted to do was have an opportunity for people who come here to row with our adaptive rowers and be coached. Mm-hmm. And so you got to row with Oksana. What did you take away from that experience?
An absolutely great row. I often
You don't have to ride a
wonder.
kicker.
No, it was really fun. But I think as an able-bodied rower, who loves this sport and has stuck with it since the day I took my first stroke, at 18 years of age, the joy that it's given me to get out there and even to have body parts unable to move. The joy is still there, and I can see, even more so why this is a great sport for everybody. I think we had fun out there, and you get it in the strokes where I could get it together with Oksana. We had those fleeting moments of greatness, and that was just incredible. It was a gift, so it's totally made my trip and my day.
I think one thing about having to do that is all of a sudden you become the student.
Yeah.
You're not in charge anymore. You
Right.
have to listen. It takes you kind of back to your first experiences as an able-bodied rower.
Yeah, it does.
But, because like say for years you do what you do, and now all of a sudden you have to ask questions.
Yeah.
So it really kind of draws everything back out of you.
And it brings a
So-
newness, which is exciting. So it's something new about rowing I don't know, and now I know, and now it makes me more curious. It makes me want to work harder to try to bring it to my community, and continue, in our efforts at Concept 2, to continue to benefit the adaptive world as best as we possibly can. So this has been incredible.
Now, Oksana, you've been rowing how many years now?
7 or 8.
And you're 21, so that means you started.
Around 14.
Yeah. So you were recruited into the program early, and you're still in the.
Yeah, I was
You're still in the
crazy enough to
program.
Stick with it.
Yeah. And,
Smart enough.
Smart enough.
and
That's crazy.
most of your rowing experience though has been associated with Randy, rowing with Randy and rowing with Bobby Hurley and being coached by them. So what's that like to come and row with somebody that's got the experience that Terry has?
It was awesome.
Say more about that.
It was extremely,
Elaborate.
really fantastically awesome. More about it. I really enjoyed it. It was,
Is she strong?
she's really strong. I had no clue a boat could move that fast. Maybe one day I'll be like Terry, row that fast.
Yes, you will.
Let me rephrase that. One day I will be like Terry.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay.
It was fun because I know how when she's watching her stroke and rowing, like how it should feel, even though you were still learning. Still, there's something I got out of it too, though.
What?
With rowing out of with her. That's top secret. It's top secret.
It's top secret?
Yeah, it's something for me to learn.
Well, okay. It's top secret. I guess we'll never know. And the people watching this video
Well,
will
we'll check back
never
with-
know.
Check back.
Next
That's
year.
right.
Take two.
Check back
And
next
see
year.
if it really worked through and followed them.
Any closing comments from you, Coach?
No, I think it was a good weekend. I had fun working with her. She's very receptive to what we were trying to show her, and I think she came in with, like everybody, with preconceived notions of what you're going to do, what you're not going to do. Hopefully we kind of kept those at bay, and she learned a lot. She brought the Concept 2 ski erg, which a lot of our athletes tried and really enjoyed, so something we may look into in the future. And she taught us something, we taught her something, so I think it was pretty good all the way around. And
Win-win.
yes, I hope to work with her again sometime in the future. She's doing all the biomechanical stuff, which is pretty cool, and I like that, so definitely stay in touch, and we'll try to get better and faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
And
right.
you know, one more thing I want to say too about the program and coming here is I like the fact that it was informal. You know, that we kind of went with the flow. That it wasn't, you know, okay, for this 30 minutes we're doing this. We're not. Yeah, it wasn't structured because I don't think you can be structured necessarily with
Well,
the population because there's so many variabilities.
Right.
Well, not with adapting on, so you gotta take it one
And
at a time.
it's time consuming because
Right.
there's a different adjustment for each athlete and that's the other thing that's really great, and I think that people getting into adaptive rowing have to understand that you know it's a time commitment.
Right.
You know, it's not something you can rush.
Yeah, I mean, your athlete may row for 20 minutes, but it may take you 20 minutes to get them in the boat.
Right.
And you gotta really set yourself up for that time commitment, and your volunteers have got to be willing to understand that you can't rush these people into the boats and out of the boats, and you have to adapt the equipment for each individual rower, and like I say, with any able-bodied, you know, we want to tell people we want to go to a race, you put your boat on your car and you go. And to take an adaptive boat takes at least 2 people plus some other support staff to get them in and out of the boat. So there is a definite time commitment in these programs, and you know it's going to take a lot of good people to run them. So.
But it's all worth it.
It is
Oh,
worth
yeah.
it. Yes, absolutely. You know, just the joy of rowing, and it's rowing is for everybody. That's
Yep.